What's up, everybody, and welcome to Pillow Talk, Moments with the Mobleys. I am Johnny Mobley Jr.,
And I'm his wife, Deirdra,
and we something like an ordinary couple.
with extraordinary purpose.
Mo,
What up, baby?
what's up? This is our first video. Welcome all to the first video podcast.
Hey, y'all. Greetings, salutations,
We are so excited.
accolades, and blessings.
We are so excited.
You always be trying to interrupt my greetings.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Greetings, salutations, accolades, and blessings. How y'all doing? Hey, babe.
Hi. You gonna act like that first part ain't never happened?
It didn't happen. We can act like it didn't happen.
Okay. All right then.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Are you?
In grind mode.
Amen.
So, tell me this. This is our first video podcast. How do you feel being in our studio that we we created ourselves. Like, we built the panels and we got some other stuff we're working on. But we built it ourselves. How you feel?
It feels good. It feels different from when we were just in here the few times with an empty room.
Yeah.
It just feels good to see something manifest, you know? Yeah.
It's great stuff. So,
yeah.
Here we are.
And we're still working on it.
And we're still working on it. We got a good bit of stuff we got to do. We're still working on it. But this is what I want to talk about today, because this is the first video podcast, and this is going to be the very first time I'm talking to this woman beside me. Y'all, she wrote a book, y'all. She's part. She wrote a chapter in a book.
I was about to say, because remember you told me you wrote
a chapter. We ain't going to talk about that. This is what we're going to talk about. It's about you. She is a co-author with a group of women who wrote this book, Woman Healed and Whole, the Testament from Survivors. So this is where we at right now. It's been a process, and I want to talk to her about it. She's actually the very first chapter in the book. Want to get shouts out to the visionary behind this, Pastor Tia.
Yep.
And
Tia Monique.
And y'all, we'll have her on the show very soon. But I want to talk to this beautiful woman beside me, and I'm gonna ask you some questions. You ready for this author?
I am, sir.
Okay.
And
now,
it is actually, as Tia reminded me, best-selling
book. You're right. This is the first question is, did you ever in your million years think you would write and be a part of a book?
You said in my million years?
Yeah.
In a million years?
Yeah.
Okay.
In your million years.
In
Deirdra world is different. You already know this.
Whatever. I didn't. And I still kind of don't believe it. But I did. And so I'm excited about it. And, but I would have never thought that. I guess I just didn't see that for myself. I saw it for you, but I didn't see it for myself.
So my question is this. You wrote a chapter in this book. Would you ever write a book, an entire book?
Well, I'm never going to say what I'm never going to do. As I stated before, I didn't see this happening. But it did, and I'm very thankful and very grateful to Tia that she kind of pushed me to accept the invitation to be a part of it. But I think I could. The process to do even this chapter, you already know what that is.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll share some of it, but I'm not going to say what'll never happen, or because my first thought when you said that question was like, no, I'm straight. I'm good with just a chapter. But I could see myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you have, and this is the one thing, like I've told you before, even when starting this podcast, one of the great sayings that you say all the time, that we are not for everybody, but we are for somebody.
Right.
And there's somebody out there that needs to hear your story. and how you persevered and got through.
Yeah.
However that was. So, you know, I always do this. I always say, think about when you were in that situation in this chapter in the book, when you were in that situation that you didn't have any options, like nobody to really reach out to talk to help you through this stuff. And by the grace of God and us staying together and us fighting, you know, hard, we got through it.
Yeah.
So to that young woman or that young woman or young couple that's in that situation, you know, they need to hear this story.
Yeah.
To give them some type of hope to say, okay, I know somebody who did this and got through.
Right. Right.
So
I see that now
yeah.
that I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's start here. How in the book is about survivors, women being healed and whole.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you at the beginning, and then how did you get healed and whole?
Okay, can I give you just a little backstory on how this great piece came to fruition?
Well, yeah, let's talk about how the project was birthed.
Okay, so my good sister friend Tia, we call her Pastor Tia. She is
because she is a pastor,
right. She's a phenomenal. Right, it's not a nickname. She is a phenomenal person in the kingdom, in the world, and she actually told me the idea of the testament from survivors, women healed and whole, because she herself has just crazy testimonies.
Yeah.
And she approached me about it because, we were always talking, and I knew that she was going to do the project, but I didn't know that she was going to ask me to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I was ready to assist her with whatever she needed, but she called me and she said to me, I want you to be a part of this project, and I want your chapter to be about, you were a teenage mom, you were pregnant at 17, got married by 19, all those things that you overcame and went through. I think, you need to tell that. And I was like, as she was saying this, I was like, what? Like me?
You always trying to buck on something.
No, it wasn't that I was trying to buck, but I couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Because I never looked, I always thought about what others went through. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Was, you find people who've gone through domestic violence, and different things like that, as some of the women in the book. Yeah. It's like, my story ain't nothing compared to, some of the women. And so I'm like, I'm good. I had some things happen to me, but I'm good. It's not that much to be written or talked about.
Right.
And she was like, no, that's where you're wrong. You have something to say. And I want you to say it. I'd like you to say it in the book. And so after I swallowed that pill, and, because I'm a firm believer, and I tell God this all the time, if there's something that you want me to do, and I know that you want me to be a part of it, I don't ever want to not be in your will. So I'm going to do it, even if I'm doing it scared. And I remember you told me, you were like, okay, you can do it. That's going to be fine. That's going to be good. That's going to be real good. And I was like, I don't know. And you were like, yeah, you ready for this. You got this. And you said, plan a weekend that we'll go out of town because you need to be in another space.
Yeah.
And because, like you said, that's what helped you get to where a good headspace for when you finished your book.
Right.
And so you were like, plan a weekend that we're going to go, even if it's like right up the road. And we did. We literally went right up to Jacksonville for the weekend. And that's where I wrote the bulk of the chapter.
Yeah.
And then finished, the rest of it once we got back home a little later. But, the change in scenery made a difference. The change in the atmosphere made a difference.
Yeah.
And I remember one thing you told me, you said, like, put yourself back in that situation so you can tell your story from that place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, feel what you're writing. Like, if you can in your mind, put yourself back in that place that you were in when you were living this stuff. And literally, that's what I did.
Yeah. It would.
That's what I did.
If we would have stayed in our environment, then that would have never happened.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know if it's psychologically or whatever, but when you leave your environment, where you're at, where you pay the bills and stuff be happening on a regular basis, if you got kids and you're dealing with all these different things, as long as you can connect it to that, then it's hard for you not to, you know.
Yeah.
So once you leave that, you get a sense of relief.
Yeah.
And it's a little easier for you to transition into that place you need to be in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I even saw a couple of times, I know you stayed up late that night and you was writing, and I was in the bed and I was, you know, trying to support as much as I possibly can. I don't know how much I helped, but, you know, you stayed up a good part of the night and you wrote. And then I woke up and then you wasn't in the bed, and I was like, well, where's she go at? You was up writing again. And then I walked in and you were crying. I was like, what the world?
Well, I mean, well, you told me to go back.
And you went back. So that part to me was amazing, because I was like, oh, Lord, what done happened?
You told me to go back.
But you went back, and that's what was caught in your chapter. The emotions, the realness, the authenticness of you going through that stuff and being a part of it. So that's why I say somebody.
Yeah.
Because somebody's there right now.
Right.
Somebody's been there for a little while. Somebody's looking like they're getting ready to go there. So everybody's story, we don't, as human beings, it's not that we go through different stuff. It's just the way we handle it. Mm-hmm. So everybody has a unique way of handling it. And it's a such thing as not knowing how to handle it.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you don't know.
Absolutely.
You didn't know.
Absolutely.
So, you know, but by the grace of God, you got through it. And, you know, it was a lot in our young, we were just out there. But so a great group of women who was courageous enough and brave enough to tell their story, a part of their story, and how they persevered and got through it. So I do believe you needed to be a big part of this.
Yeah.
Because the mother that you are, the woman that you are, was birthed through a little small part of this chapter in this book.
Right.
So you would never be the person you are right now if you didn't go through this stuff.
Absolutely.
But you stayed and you went through the process. You didn't abandon the process.
Right.
So we talked about you wanting to write a book. Mm-hmm. Do you consider yourself a writer?
No.
Why not?
Do I consider myself a writer?
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. I really don't.
So I'm gonna tell you what I consider yourself. I believe everybody in the world is a writer. A fact, if you were able to take your life and put it into words, especially if you went through something and got through something and are able to be successful and gain something from it, then you have something to tell.
A
lot of people do not do that because
they feel like they don't have anything to tell.
They don't have anything to tell, or what they went through is not worth it, or they caused their own stuff, so they really ain't got. So I believe everybody has a story to tell that somebody would need to hear.
Yeah.
So I beg to differ. I do see you as a writer.
Okay.
How long did it take you to write the book? Write the chapter?
The chapter. Like I said, I wrote the bulk of it that weekend in Jacksonville. So that literally was, we left on a Friday evening, I think. Yep. After we got off.
Yep. And
we came back on a Sunday. So the bulk of it happened that Friday night. And I would start and I would stop and I would start and I would stop because I remember, well, you listen to classical music and that helps you focus because you were working that weekend too.
Yeah.
But I put in my just my worship list and had my headphones in. And so, that was what allowed me to, I guess, just like kind of purge myself and take myself back to, the 17-year-old that was pregnant and really didn't have a clue about, just about what I was doing. Let me put it like that. Because, of course, we were in a relationship, and that's how I got pregnant. But
It was a little tad bit fast, but okay, go ahead.
okay, well, I was fast with you though.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
I was a little fast.
Yeah,
too.
you was a lot faster. You trying to shine on me? Somebody, you was a little fast. I was fast with you, sir.
You're right.
Fastness.
You're right.
But I took myself back to that place. I took your advice. Tried to take myself back to that place to, I guess, kind of feel those feelings that I felt at that time.
Yeah.
That I hadn't thought about in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was able to go back to that place. 1 week I graduated from high school and was good and pregnant. And the next week I was exactly a week later on a Monday, I delivered her. And for me, not only did it take me back to feelings of being that pregnant teenager, it took me back to the feelings that I had at that moment for you because we weren't together during that time. So I think that's where a lot of the emotional stuff came in at. And, me having her and stuff like that. But even more so, the point of just allowing me to process all that as I wrote the chapter, but also able to know that I'm better because of having to go through that. I'm better because at that age I had the responsibility. I was still, living with my mom, but I had the responsibility now of not only caring for myself but caring for this child.
And not being sure where your knucklehead boyfriend.
Well, you wasn't my boyfriend.
That was always your boyfriend.
You wasn't my boyfriend at that time, sir.
Always connected.
Connected and together is two different things.
It's connected. Being connected is more than anyway, that's not what this is about.
Right.
So,
but just even those feelings of you're right, uncertainty of where our relationship was going to be. I never had a doubt that once the truth came out that that you were just scared, so that's why you said that she wasn't yours. But I knew that once that came out, that you would be a great father to her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not that I wasn't, because I knew that your mom and your dad and your family was going to support me, as well as my family. So, which they did. So for me, it wasn't the unsurety of that. It was the uncertainty and the still wanting for us to have our relationship back.
Yeah.
That kind of, kept me. But in that moment, after I got through that initial, what's going to be up with us, it turned into a determination to do it, to take care of her, to clothe her, to, feed her, to bathe her, to care for her, to love her, get her where she needed to be, even as I started, in college.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it took me back to those places when those different things happened. Yeah, and it started there, All
right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So, would you ever be open to having an open forum of talking a little bit about parts and pieces of your life to equip other women or give them an idea or option on how to get through stuff?
Well, I feel like we're already doing it now.
Yeah, I got that. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, my question is to you, would you be open to having an open forum with a group of women? And I know how you are now because it took you a minute to grab a hold of the whole couple counseling thing that we do now.
Right.
Because you pushed me to do couple counseling, but it was hard for me to do couple counseling without my mate. So once you got on board with that, we move forward. But what I do see now is, I don't know what it is, and this is I can say for both of us, I don't know what it is sometimes about you knew you were supposed to write this chapter in this book, but somewhere, whether it was you didn't think it was valuable enough, you didn't think it was worth it, you didn't think it meant as much as the other women stuff in here.
Mm-hmm. All of
But
those things.
but this every chapter in this book is literally hundreds of thousands of millions of women's lives
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just exactly like
Yeah.
all these women in this chapter, in this book, that didn't know what to do, that didn't have an answer, but by the grace of God somehow got through. So just think if women or people, period, gave this information on how they got through stuff, how many more options there will be for other women, men, young people out there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the generation has been dropped because we won't share.
Yeah.
We won't share. So I commend not only you, but every woman in here, like I said before, that has been brave enough to give this part, because this is an intimate part of your life.
Yeah.
And
most definitely.
Don't nobody. The world likes to talk about the flawedness and the weak stuff and the mistakes, but don't nobody really talk about the great stuff that happens. That don't get through. So everybody loves a survivor story.
Mm-hmm.
What you go through, what you've been through, and then boom, you made it on top. But this is the essence of a person's life. I believe there are women, and what made it, I'm gonna tell you what made this a no-brainer for me, that I believe that you could do it, because we got 5 daughters that came from me and you, and we got 1 daughter that did not come from you but came from me. And everybody's treated the same. You are still there for every last one of them to this day. Best friends. You talk to your daughters every single day. They don't talk to me every day.
He better, y'all.
But y'all talk to, I'm just saying. I stayed, y'all. I was. Anyway, this ain't about me. She talked to them every single day. And that, I'm telling y'all, to me, that means so much, because they have a relationship. Once you get to a certain place in life, you parent different. So for y'all to have a connection like that, that really means a whole lot to me. Now, and I believe that, they do talk to me and we do have conversations and stuff. But for us to still have a relationship with our kids like that, and they still call us to this day for suggestions, for advice, so it's great. This is the part, this chapter in this book is one of the parts that you persevered through that got you to the place you are now. And the manifestation of it is the relationship you have with your children. So,
Yep.
And this is just one part of it, y'all. This ain't even this is not even the whole life story. And me and my wife, we do present ourselves as a united front, because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
We're a united front when it comes to pretty much everything, whether y'all see us together or not. But this is the thing. She has her story. And at some point in time, I'm gonna get her with her big sis, and they go get together, and then she go get her book. She's gonna get her book, which I would suggest that every woman in this book at some point in time write their own book.
I think a few of them actually are.
Yeah.
Writing their book. And I think it was birthed because I know there were some women in this who, maybe didn't see their story as, that's, just
important
stuff that
enough.
happened to me, nobody's, going to need it, but we do. We are, because we know that our lives are our own, our trials and different things that we go through, triumphs, all this stuff or whatever, there are things that are meant to be shared to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Because there's always that woman out there. There's always that young girl out there. There's always, even that man or young boy. There's always somebody out there And in that moment when they're going through stuff, they think that I'm the only one going through
Only
this.
person.
I'm the only person going through this. I don't know how. I'm gonna get through this. Who can I talk to? Who can I turn to? Surely with all these billions of people in the world, I'm the only one that's going through this situation right now.
Yeah.
Because something I talked about in the book with the all the stuff that surrounded Paige being birthed and stuff like that, which is our second child. With us, me and you getting back together, and a lot of people didn't know that we were back together. Because we was back together, y'all being nasty and not married. But anyway, and then she was conceived, and then I went into labor early with her. And so just that, but even before that, when I first found out, and I knew that I was pregnant, but I hadn't went to take the test and everything like that or whatever. But even in that moment, I remember sitting in the hallway at my mom's house and writing this letter to my daddy. And it was like, hey, because I couldn't get up the nerve, the courage to tell him, or to not only just tell him that I was pregnant again, but to ask him to send me, I think I asked him for $800 to go get an abortion. I was too far along to get one in Savannah, but I had already got the information from the clinic in Atlanta. And I sat in the hallway and wrote that letter to him. Like, I'm so sorry. I already have one child and I don't need another because I don't know what, I'm not going to be able to take care of 2 kids. And, I just need you to send me $800. I can go to Atlanta and get the abortion and writing all this stuff in this letter. And I sent it to him or gave it to him. I think I may have given it to him because at that point I was would see him often still. And he called me back and he said, he didn't even go in depth about the letter. He basically said to me, I don't have that money. And in my mind, like, and this was, I would think about it like years later, like, my daddy always had money.
Yeah, he had it.
Yeah, my daddy always had money. So, for you to tell me that, I look back and I laughed about it one time because I was like, he didn't want me to do that.
But he didn't know how to tell you.
Right.
He didn't know how to tell you, so he told you he just didn't have it.
He said he didn't have it.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I was like, okay, so, and then after I started writing, and it just, like, everything came out of me. And I was like, somebody does need to know that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the biggest things, once people go through stuff and then they survive, because of all the hurt, the pain, the trauma that they go through, typically, once they get to a different side of their life and they seem to be doing better, they don't want to remember what happened in the past.
Right.
That's the main reason they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it bring up memories. It it open doors. It does all this stuff. And they don't want to be that person no more. But I promise you, one of the biggest ways of healing is talking about the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you talk about it, you remember. Let me tell you what talking about it did. What I know it did for my wife. Talking about it not only made her help her heal, but it literally helped her be a lot more grateful for where she's at right now. Because once you go back and you look at that stuff and you remember that stuff and everything, then you look at where you are now. See, it's not the forgetting part, because if you never went through that part, you'd never be here today.
Absolutely.
So my biggest thing is when you go through that type stuff, it's all a part of your DNA. It's all a part of who you are.
Yeah.
So you can't forget about it. It might not have been right. The results might not have been good. All these things, but you got to a certain place. People need to hear that. Yeah. People need to hear that. People need to hear that your boyfriend at that time was a jerk. Because I was. But we sitting here now over 30 years later together. Because at
But
some
even
point in
in that,
time,
what was so funny about it, and we laugh about it now, we look back and we laugh about it now, but even in that moment when I wouldn't even say, I guess I wasn't angry at you for, denying Brianna or for what we went through in that and some of the stuff that we went through with, in the process with Paige. But it was more so that I never hated you. You know what I'm saying? And for me, and we talk about this, from
Yeah.
time to time, I never hated you. Even when I came home and my mom was like, what Johnny is saying, it's not his baby. And I'm like, what? But even and I guess people would be, naturally be like enraged or I hate him or how could you do this to me? I knew that that wasn't your heart.
Yeah.
And I knew that that reaction came from you being scared.
Yeah.
Just like I was.
Yeah.
So I didn't have all these emotions of I hate you, you'll never see my child, da 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 da. It was just a matter of, okay, so now I'm just gonna wait until he come around. Because obviously, he going through something or, something is going through his mind to put him in a place and he's scared out of his mind, don't know who he talking to or whatever. But at the same point, I knew that that was the reason for your actions. Because at that point, we had been together, like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew, no, this ain't him talking. So even in that moment, I didn't, conjure up this hate for you. I literally loved you through all of it. And I think maybe sometimes my mom would I know she probably wondered, like, why is she so calm? You know what I'm saying? Why is she not ranting and raving and hating him and talking bad against him or whatever? Nobody talked bad about you in our family. Nobody did. And I didn't either. That wasn't my vibe.
Yeah.
But even in that, it was another part of this chapter that you'll get to read when you purchase the book. Because it's on Amazon, and I have some copies as well that I can actually
And we'll get this on the website too.
Autograph and send out or whatever. But another big part, Johnny, of writing that chapter allowed me to see that I put during that time and during our dating and all that time before I really started to make my relationship with God a priority, I had you in his place. And I was thinking about this. The other day when when the book came, because again, it takes you through all those emotions that you had when when that I had when I wrote it. I started to think, I was like, wow, I had him where I should have had you, God.
Yeah.
And the Lord clearly says it. He is a jealous God.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow. Because to be completely honest, that's when this book came and I thought about, okay, so what is that person that's reading? Of course, the whole book is powerful.
Yeah.
But for me, it was personal because what is that person that's going to read the chapter that I wrote? What are they going to get out of it that's going to help them in this moment? And for me, it wasn't just about being, a pregnant teenager and all that stuff or whatever, and becoming a teenage mom and really still being a child myself. But another part that the Lord brought to my remembrance was you had him where I was supposed to be. Like, you were just it. You were everything. What is that Monica song? Everything? Yeah, everything to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
the song lady.
Yeah, I think that's her song. But it was like, that was a revelation for me. And I was like, but I'm grateful to God that I think that had to happen. Does that make sense? Even though that I didn't want that to happen with you not being there in those moments. Would I have wanted you to be there? Absolutely. But even after Paige was born and we had a brief split.
Yeah.
Even with all of that happened, I think that God needed to bring me back to him, to make him my first love.
Yeah.
And take you out of that place that I had put you in.
I believe that.
You know what I'm saying?
I believe that. I don't think it's I don't think it's nothing that you can do to physically prepare for marriage, the relationship, or a kid or a child.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that we have things in us that are activated when those things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do believe God has a path for us to go down.
Right.
I do believe that we make the wrong decisions sometime, but God can still bless it.
Mm.
So I believe through everything, even me saying that Brianna wasn't my kid in the beginning, mm-hmm. even me and you breaking up, I believe he had a vision of what he already wanted to do. So
yeah.
He is the master of taking lemons and making them into lemonade. He understands and he knows. So for us to go through what we went through, you had a piece on you about me, because regardless if I wanted to believe it or not, God lived in me. Mm-hmm. Now, I might not have exuded that the entire time, but
right.
he was there.
Right.
And he was in you.
Yeah.
So certain things happened that we did respond different. I wasn't that dude. Till this day, we had a conversation the other day, and you said, sometimes in situations, I know you want to act up and act a fool and everything, but you can't, because that ain't how you wired.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get that.
That's not who you are.
God created me to be a certain way. He created all of us to be a certain way. So when you act out of content of what that is, you have to develop that behavior. You get it from somewhere, and then you nurture that behavior. But it's not who the person is. Mm-hmm. So because we have a relationship with God and we work on it, that part of me, when I want to don't do all the stuff, when I don't want to double check stuff, when I don't want to be up, doing stuff all time of night, when I want to have that's not in me to do. In me to do is always to do excellent.
Yeah.
Now, my level of excellence might not be others' level of excellence, but my level of excellence is whatever it is at the time when I'm doing it. That's what I feel. I've learned that part, and I've learned to be okay with that. But most of the time, because I go above and beyond to do stuff, people see what I do as excellent.
Yeah.
It was never. That was never me. I wasn't a dude that went around got girl pregnant. That wasn't a part of me. Although I was trying to find who I was, that wasn't a part of me. And you knew my heart, because you the only woman that I've ever given my heart to like that. Mm-hmm. So you knew, this ain't that joker. He trying to act like he's something and he ain't even that.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll wait till he come around. Now, I do believe when you said I'll wait till he come around, you had a fear in your heart, like, girl, you finna be sitting here being dumb?
Because I knew you was coming.
You knew I was coming back? That's the Deirdra now. That Deirdra back then ain't do that.
I knew it was coming, sis. I knew it was coming.
But I, in my heart, and I'm going to tell you what convicted me the most. Because, and this is the crazy part, and listen to this, y'all, because she did not pour gasoline on it. She just kind of allowed it. Okay, cool. He's saying the baby not his. I'm going to wait till he come around. I ain't getting no phone calls. I ain't had people talking crazy to me. I ain't had her mama, her sister, and all them call me and tell me I ain't no good. You a sucker. I ain't had none of that stuff happen. It was silence. Nothing. Which had me, the only thing I could do was deal with myself and my conscience. Yeah. And I'm like, Joker, this is who you gonna be? You finna be that dude out there who got a whole kid? And really? That ain't who I am. That ain't how my parents raised me. I seen some of it, and that ain't who I am. At some point in time, I chose a way I wanted to live, but you knew that.
Yeah.
The connection was real, and you knew that. And regardless, we had a relationship with God in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It might not be as much as we have now, but it was something. And God don't leave.
Yeah.
So even though we was making bad decisions, He kept saying, "All right, I got you. God dog it. God darn it, Deirdra, you done made the wrong turn again. Hold on. All right, I got you. I'll get you back over there somehow. We go work it out. Johnny, boy, get
His
right.
grace is sufficient.
Let me
y'all.
tell you something, y'all. Whenever you thinking your situation, I mean, and that's why it's so important for books like this to be read. Self-help books are great. Authentic stories of real people's lives is where it's at, because the testimonies that people give when they make it through something, man, that's the realization of somebody else going through something else. Like I said, it's stuff that we all go through. We just handle the stuff different.
Yeah.
We just handle it different. And because the person handling it wrong, that you feel that is wrong, and they're not getting the results because they might don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Just like anybody, if you put in a situation and you're uncomfortable, you get scared, you start making decisions, try to get up out of there.
Yeah.
So every decision you make ain't necessarily the right decision. But whoever comes to you and say, okay, you made that decision, just hold tight. Just let it settle. God came to you and say, he acting a fool right now. Shh.
Yeah.
Just hold tight. Just wait a minute.
And
you ain't try to fix it yourself.
Listen, as Tia's mama said, she said, "Give time."
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That's what she said to me.
That's
good.
Got
to give Mama Lily her props.
Give time. And something else that I learned, I've been doing some research on quote unquote time management and what it really is. Well, this is what I figured out. This is what I've learned. There's no such thing as time management, because you can't manage time. Time is what it is. It's indefinite. It's what it is. You manage your events. That's what you manage. You don't manage time, because you can't change the time. It ain't nothing gonna happen with the time. When the deadline get there, it's there. But you can manage your events. Yeah. That's what you manage. That's what you manage. The time is literally there to keep you on track. That's what it's there for. Yeah. So sometimes you need to make decisions in a timely manner. And then other times you need to allow time to heal it, to change it, to let it settle down. If you would have never did that, if you would have never made that decision, I don't know where it came from, then it's no telling where we'll be at right now.
Right.
Because I was already scared.
Yeah.
And ladies, most of the time when jokers act crazy and they scared.
Yeah.
They scared. They don't have faith that they can be a good daddy. Whatever the case is, they're scared. So what makes you scared is when somebody, I ain't even a word, scared. But what makes you...
Even scared? More scared?
Scared. We going with scared.
Scarier.
What makes you scared is when you already afraid of a situation and then you got people attacking you.
Yeah.
So it don't help the situation.
Yeah.
Calling me sorry, calling me deadbeat, calling me all these things does not help my situation. All I want to do is not be a part of that situation. That's it.
Yeah. So
the process is the process. So I really feel like God giving you that answer to that. To just, I know that's not him. Let me just let him deal with himself. God deal with him.
Absolutely.
He'll come to his senses.
Yeah.
Because that's not him.
Yeah.
And I wasn't waiting on that to happen, but I was waiting for some backdraft. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, because I know you got a couple of...
Act up. She just,
So this is what I want to do. I want you to present your book.
So this is the best-selling book. It's called Testaments from Survivors, Women Healed and Whole. It features myself, Miss Jill Maddox, Tamika Palmer, Pauline Horton, Mary Williams Wade, Amanda Samuels, Erica Miller, Tamara Brown, Keyshawn Houston, Staffy Blakely, Willena Stafford, Trevon Clifton, Marche Wells, Andrew Lee Harrell, Shelfonte Minus, Letitia Barnhart, and Yolanda Townsend. And it was all, this is the vision of Tia Monique. It was compiled from her, by her, put together by her, and everything is absolutely, it's an amazing read, and it'll help you not only just read it because you want to know somebody, be nosy or know somebody, what somebody went through, but it's a matter of the testimonies from women, including myself, who have gone through stuff, has walked through the process, who knows that God has never left me nor them, but he's brought us into the other side. So that's where the strength that you see now comes from.
Yeah.
The focus, the power, the what's the word I'm looking for? The confidence, not cockiness, but confidence in Christ and all that he has done, all that he has already done, that's being manifested at this moment. So it's just a brief summation. This book is filled with the stories of enduring grief, domestic violence, depression, sexual and physical abuse, marriage issues, identity crisis, rejection, and more. But at the end of the day, guys, this book shows that you can be victorious. No matter what it is that you've gone through, no matter age, whatever. No matter the ethnicity or whatever, it just shows that, we have overcome and we can overcome and we are victorious through Christ. So I am most excited about the fact that I listened to Tia, that I accepted it, that I said yes, that you took me to a place where I needed to be at for me to be involved in this, for this chapter to happen. So I'm just grateful to you too, babe. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen.
Well, I have nothing else to say on that.
Hit me up if you want this book. You can cash at me, Deb Mobley, or I'm Deirdra Mobley on Facebook. But just get at me because, like I said, I got some copies. I'll send them out autographed by myself, and I appreciate all your support for this project. It's also on Amazon. Testaments from Survivors, Women Healed and Whole.
It'll also be on Moments with the Mobleys website.
Yes, we'll put it on the website. So
we're going to put it on there. It'll be. I am very proud of you.
Thank you.
And there is so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more. That. So I thank you for saying yes, not as your husband, but just as a man living. I still learn from you. So thank you.
And not from you. Thank you, babe.
All right, y'all. This has been the first video podcast of Pillow Talk Moments with the Mobleys. We hope y'all enjoyed it. More to come. I am your man, Johnnie Mobley Jr.
And I'm still his wife, y'all, Deirdra Mobley Jr.
And we something like an ordinary couple.
With extraordinary purpose.
Thank y'all. Peace out.
Night, night.